Coming up on the show this morning, a gentle reminder, boys. You got to think before you judge others. Yep, we're going to get into it this morning with Amy Reinhart, myself, John, Marty, Jimmy, and Uncle Keith is battling a bug this morning. Let's get after it, Jimmy. Let's go. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab where
When something negative comes up.
Building muscle and improving blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If the lady's saying that, you're just
Being as a super
be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that it?
There we go. Let's get after it, guys. Get after it. The loop has begun. The next day. Good morning. I'm your host. I'm Keith Billis. Over there is Marty. Over there is Johnny. We got producer Jimmy on the buttons. This morning, guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about being a narcissist, or no, we're going to talk about being gentle and kind to others. That's the big discussion today. We've got Amy Reinhart joining us on the show this morning. We got a bunch of topics to get through here today. We're going to dig into it myself and Johnny. Good morning, Benzie. Good to have you here this morning. Boys, I woke up this morning, looked at my wrists, and I got the old Apple alerts. I was like, oh my God, I slept less than 3 hours. Respiratory was off. Wrist temperature is others won't want to do. And that's what we're doing here this morning. I'm live with Keith and John and Marty and so forth. And like Johnny was here a few weeks ago battling it. Well, hey, we're battling it today as well. So, Jimmy, let's get it rolling, brother. Let's get the show going. Good morning, Holroyd. Good to have you here in the lab. How's that snow recovery removal happening for you here this morning? Let's bring up the boys, Jimmy. Let's bring up Marty. Let's bring up Johnny. If they're here, I don't see Johnny in the green room right now there, Mr. Oh, I see that I might have a problem with my vertical. No, that's okay there. Yeah, there you go. So, Jimmy, let's bring the boys up. Is Marty around as well or not? Or am I getting after it as well? Listen, so you're still working on it, Adam. I see that. You guys got a lot of snow here. I got a few things to throw on the table this morning. I got some fun videos that, well, not really. One of them's not a fun one, but I thought we could break it apart. Did you guys see that unfortunate crash in Toronto? My biggest fear when I'm in an airplane is when you land, you flip over, and it happened. So not here to make light of it. Don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I thought I'd throw it up on the old screen. We can just share it with the crew here. That's a horrible thing. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Jeremy. I see you there in the comments as well. We also have an asteroid. Yeah, it's the percentages of that asteroid getting and hitting us are going up daily. So in December, it was about a 1% chance of the asteroid landing on Earth and hitting all of us. Good morning, everybody showing up here this morning. You got Keith Billis. I'm your host of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I see a bunch of you guys here. Stop it in. Stop. Yeah, morning show for men, you guys. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Tell everybody that you found this great live discussion happening. What's going on, Mr. Anderson?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Well, I'm actually feeling a little sick today, brother.
Are you? What kind of sick?
Yeah. Good morning, Lazy Moon. I see you there in the comments as well. I invite you to subscribe to our channel. We hit 500 subscribers yesterday. We busted the 500 barrier. We're on our way to monetization. Well, Johnny, I woke up this morning, so I went to bed last night. I was feeling kind of off. You know, your body's cold and achy, so I went to bed last night. Brother, oh, by the way, nation, we like to drop some inappropriate words and language here. So if you have children, I invite you to warn them or just teach them all the words we're going to talk about. Yeah, Johnny, my Apple Watch told me I slept less than 3 hours last night. My respiratory rate was off and my body temperature was off. So, and I knew it. I peed 3 times last night. So I got up this morning like my regular routine, had a cup of coffee, and brother, I went back, laid down on the couch for another 45 minutes.
Was your temperature? Were you running hot?
Yes, exactly it. Yeah.
Did you eat something that was off?
No, I just think I was starting to feel a little off yesterday as the afternoon, evening was kind of coming together. So No, I don't think so I had a nice chicken thigh and salad dinner last night for dinner, and didn't have any crap, just had some really good food and went to bed in good time. But yeah, I was feeling a little off. So my plan today, gonna do the show with you guys, and then after the show, I'm gonna go lay down for an hour and a half. And I know you and I are meeting here this morning, so I'll send you a text here this morning if I have to bump that or not. But
if we need to reschedule, bro, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
So
it sounds like you unless there was something goofy with that piece of chicken, sounds like you may just have a little bug.
Well, that's exactly how I feel. You know, like that's exactly how I feel. So I know you don't wear an Apple Watch. I do. It's the good news, the good thing. Good morning, good time. I see you there in the comments as well. The good news about it, Johnny, is that I get the vitals, right? So I showed up, got up this morning, I get the alert that said, hey, your vitals are off. So what does that mean if you don't understand it? So it tracks my sleep, my heart rate, not naturally. And then I got up this morning and it said, hey, your body temperature was off by 2.5 degrees. Your heart rate, like my average heart rate last night when I slept was 69. High.
What is it normally?
45, 50.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. So I was I was battling let's see here, 4TP. You think the guy well, you know, that's an interesting conversation there, 4TP. That's interesting comments there. I think that you have some interesting comments. What made you think about that, 4TP, to write those comments there? I'm quite intrigued by your perspective. Johnny, we got Amy Reinhart joining us this morning. Johnny, have you seen that unfortunate plane crash in Toronto a couple days ago? Have you seen the video of it?
You know, I get more news updates on this show than anywhere else in my life.
Good. Then I'm doing my job.
Because I don't watch the fucking news, bro.
I know you don't. That's good then. I got some shit to show you here this morning. So Jimmy, if you got that video, man, let's roll it, because it's my biggest fear when I'm landing. What's up, Marty? How are you, brother?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Well, you know, I'm feeling a little under the weather, but we're gonna get after it here today because that's what we do here on the show, right? So that
doesn't stop the show.
No, it does exactly. It doesn't stop the show at all.
Makes it better.
Yes.
Because when we fucking kick ass under subpar conditions, that's the example we're trying to lead.
That's exactly it. So as I was rolling over and getting after it today, I'm like, okay, we have no choices but to show up and do our shit. Jimmy, if you got that plane video, let's roll that. I'm not sure if you have that or not there, Jim, but let's roll that if we do. Marty, did you see that plane crash in Toronto?
I did not.
Yeah. So we got a video here on the table here, and I got another goofy video too. Okay, Jimmy's gonna get that ready for us, guys. So
I don't think goofy was the right word for that.
No. I'm sorry, I was referring to something else. Sorry, I'm a little bit off for this one. No, that was tragic.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, thank you, Marty. My biggest fear when I'm landing in an airplane is exactly what happened. Okay. And when you see the video, you're like, holy fuck, man, that's not really cool. So the good news is everybody survived. That's the good news.
Well, brother, according to the law of attraction, when you fear something, you're basically bringing it upon yourself.
Well, yeah, there you go. So speaking of fearing, on December 24th, NASA announced that there is a massive asteroid on its way to collide with Earth. Had about a 1% chance. You know, like Armageddon with Ben Affleck years ago, the movie, Johnny? Kind of our
It's
era.
just a matter of time. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, what was it like? I can't remember what this was, and I don't know how credible it was. It made a lot of sense. It was like every time the sun farts, it spits off this chunk of molten lava, because it's so hot, right?
Yes.
And it goes out and it hardens and it turns into, a big piece of rock that starts going through the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The universe and they collide with other fucking planets all the time.
Yeah, well,
if you look at the timeline, it's millions and millions of years. It's a solar system. It's just it's almost like a great oak will live for hundreds of years. A mosquito will live for a couple of days. So we're the mosquito, and the universe is the great oak. We just haven't seen this happen in our lifespan.
Oh man! So in December, boys, it was 1.2% chance of the asteroid hitting Earth. It went up again to 2.3%. It went up to 2.6%. Now we wake up this morning, it's at 3.1%. So now listen, there's still a 96% chance it's not going to hit Earth, but it's gone up considerably.
Is this like a meter that you could look at every day?
Yeah. Oh, I got the notes in front of me here, which is well, listen, science and NASA is covering it, right? So the big concern, Johnny, is that it's going to land in a city, and it will be destructive.
Dude, it doesn't matter where it fucking lands. If it hits any landmass, the whole fucking. I mean, have you seen Armageddon? I'm just making a joke, but I mean, an asteroid of any size hitting Earth is going to be fucking catastrophic, no matter where the fuck it lands.
Absolutely.
If it hits a city, of course, those people will be incinerated a little bit faster. But
yes. Yeah, so that's some current news that's kind of happening around us. Listen, I'm not losing sleep about it, but I need content for our morning show conversation. So this is a good one to throw on the table to talk about.
This is a perfect example of where human beings should focus on what they can control. This is completely uncontrollable. And if it happens, doesn't fucking make a difference what you're doing. So just live your life to the fullest and the best you can and not be distracted by dumb shit like this.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you. I do think that we would agree, the three of us boys here, that if it was going to strike Earth, that we would hope that there'd be some folks hanging around that are thinking about helping us, Johnny. Right? So whether they're going to knock it off course or send Ben Affleck into the sky to go and do his Armageddon thing, maybe it's going to be Armageddon, maybe the sequel. I don't know, but
again, we don't have any control of that either.
This is true. Yeah, maybe
no matter what happens. The average man has one choice: live to the fullest today and continue to do that every day and not let the thought of this fuck him up, because the odds are it won't fucking happen. And he's going to be worried about it for fucking years until it doesn't happen. And then he's basically wasted a whole bunch of potential in his life.
Yeah. So it's 2032. So that's like,
look at the fucking, so 10 years. Someone's going to be all fucking bent out of shape over something that's not going to happen.
What is it, 2024, Amy? I was commenting on Amy's post last week, and I'm like, yeah, it's a good post for 2024, so keep 2025. I was like, holy fuck, it is 2025. So, yeah,
Dude, back when we used to write checks,
yeah,
I would fucking write the wrong year on a check for into February before I fucking got it right. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I hear you. Good time. Maybe the Iron Dome for the Rockets will work. Yeah, exactly. Jimmy, let's run that video of the plane crash. Again, not making light of it. Simply want to show you my biggest fear. It happened in Toronto this week. The good news is everybody survived. My name is Oh, fuck.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah, it flips over.
Oh, man.
It looked like it rolled over outside too. Yeah.
Johnny, it actually flipped over. So the right, that's good, Jimmy. It actually sheared off the right wing and it flipped over so that the whole thing was upside down. Now, again, everybody survived, but there was fuel running into the fuselage and everybody got out. But craziness, eh? Just crazy.
So
Man, that's scary.
So the thing stopped.
Yeah.
You're upside down.
Yeah, it's exactly in his tube.
And then you got to fucking undo your seatbelt. You land on your head.
Yes.
In complete fucking panic.
Yes.
I mean, these people must have been shitting in their pants. I mean, granted, to think, oh my God, I'm still breathing, but then realize I got to get out of this motherfucker. I smell fuel.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right, Johnny. That's exactly it, Johnny. That's exactly what happened. And people are rushing out. And, there was some video inside the plane when it happened. Jimmy, do you got the other ridiculous video that I showed you this morning of that woman?
Hold on. I just want to say something real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
I got a shit your pants on the plane story.
Tell me.
When we
truly shit your pants?
No. When we played some school in Texas, and we were flying back from Texas, and we had to do emergency landing in Tennessee because there was something wrong with the plane. That shit was scary.
No kid. Yeah.
Yeah, like we were all like sleep chilling, and the pilot came out of nowhere and was like, we got to land this plane immediately. There's something wrong with the plane. And so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Man, yeah.
That's
pretty freaking
That's
scary.
crazy shit. I got a funny one too. So mine's a little funnier, but at the moment it was.
that wasn't nothing funny about that, John.
Well, with this one, we're looking back. It's I guess you can laugh at it, but let's check this out. So it was coming out of eastern Ukraine, like right on the border of Russia. It's called Sebastopol, this little tiny town. It took multiple planes to get there. So the contest's over. When we're coming in, everybody's kind of coming in. There's like it was the Team World Championship prelim. So there's like 15 or 16 countries representing. All the teams are coming in at kind of different times, right? Yeah. Leaving, everybody disperses all on the same day. Anyway, so we're in this plane, right? And it's fucking completely full of us. There's no regular person on this plane. It's just the competitors. So you figure every person on there is $3 bills plus, right? 300 pounds plus. And So we get, and this is like, this is not a plane like you're thinking about. This is like the little loudspeaker thing doesn't work. The pilot comes out and talks because nothing's working, right? So it's a beat up plane.
Oh my God.
Would never have been okay in America, I'm sure.
No.
Anyway, burning down the fucking down the runway, shuts it down. All of a sudden he comes back out and starts talking. And I'm like, so I looked over at one of my buddies who understood Russian. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
He says, we're too heavy. He says, we're not getting off the ground. He goes, we got to unload the baggage or we're not going to be able to fly this bird. And I was like, of course, these guys must be used to this because they're fucking calm. We Team USA, we were looking at each other like, fuck, do we get off this thing with the bags? Yeah. So they took all the bags off. And we just, I mean, I was like right on the verge. I don't know what to do. I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to stay in this motherfucker, see what happens. And we got off the ground. But that's how close we were overgrossed to the point where they had to take luggage off.
Well, you think you got a bunch
so
of.
You never got that luggage?
No, it just came on a plane. They put it on a plane behind us.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Keith.
No. You're thinking what I was saying, Marty. It's like, a bunch of 300-pound men. You got to take the luggage off and put it into the backup trailer plane to land it where the guys are heading, right? Because that's all that weight you guys are carrying there.
Crazy, yeah.
That is crazy. I have a ridiculous video. No, Jimmy, we're not going to run it. We'll run that a different day here. I saw something before the show started that I was like, are you fucking Marty? It's just some of the shit that I see in your world that I saw this morning that I was like, okay, we can break it down. We'll break it down on a different day here. I think what we'll do here. Let's keep the show rolling.
Oh man, you got me curious now, Keith.
All right, Jimmy, let's put it up there. What the hell? Let's put it up there.
Real quick, Jimmy. Come on, man. Hurry up, Jimmy.
This is the most ridiculous video I've seen. And Jimmy, I'm going to warn everybody. If you got children around, get the children out. But this is a woman who is trying to start a new trend. Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's
Bonnie
go.
Blue.
What the fuck is she doing?
You know exactly what she's doing.
Jesus Christ. So,
yeah. So I only bring it up. I brought it up because our good friend Amy owns the hashtag. She's all about hashtag ownership. And this woman has decided.
What is hashtag ownership?
Well, so we'll ask Amy about hashtag ownership coming up, but this lady has decided to start a new hashtag dildo challenge, and she's spreading it across social media, encouraging women to take a black dildo and do crazy things that in public. Like what do people?
Well, does it have to be a black one or just need to be a dildo?
I don't know, but it's just.
What was the hashtag? Was the hashtag black dildo or was it just dildo? I wasn't paying.
Hashtag dildo
challenge. So I don't think the color has anything to do with it, Keith. I think that's just the one that she had.
Probably, yeah. But the funny thing is, I was talking to Marty a couple of days ago. I'm like, dude, we might just have to do a segment or a little show called The X-Files because the shit that people put up on that platform, Marty, is beyond ridiculous. I opened it up. That's the first thing that popped in my feed this morning. I was like, what the hell is this? Marty?
Everyone's trying to get famous now.
Oh my God!
Everyone's trying to go viral with it because there's money behind it. People are making a living off of going viral. So that's what people want to do.
So, anyways, we had to have a little bit of fun with that. The hashtag thing made me laugh. We're gonna talk hashtags. Amy is all about owning hashtags, not that hashtag. No, disassociating from that one. She's all about owning the positive hashtags in life. But boys, let's do this. Let's do the accountability check-in. Yeah, exactly. Good time. I'm not trying it. No. Nope. All right, boys, listen. Every time you judge, you have to ask yourself, what am I avoiding? Yeah. A lot of people want the win. They want the transformation. They want the breakthrough. But instead of taking action, they judge. They judge the coach before they even listen. They judge the method without actually trying it. They judge the process because it feels uncomfortable. They judge others because it's easier to tear someone down than admit that they're ahead. And they judge themselves. Too old, too late, too not enough. And every time they judge, they assume they're right. But here's the thing. What if they're wrong? What if the coach has the exact insight that they need? What if the method works, but they could quit before it does? What if the process feels hard because growth always does? What if people there judging can help them if they were willing to learn? Guys, judging, Judging has a funny way of convincing us we're in control, or perhaps we're right. Here's the truth. It keeps us stuck in the same excuses over and over and over. It's like a repetitive loop. We judge, we make excuses. We judge, we make excuses. It cuts us off from the people who could help us grow. And boys, it makes it easy to avoid responsibility. So I invite you to consider this. The next time you catch yourself judging, pause. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? There you go. There's your accountability check-in this morning with Mornings Live with Keith and friends. Judgment's a killer, boys. Judgment can kill you. I know that I've had my judgment in life, and we're going to get into that in a few moments. Marty, when you hear judgment, what do you hear, Marty, when you hear people judging? And what's your thought process on judgment and judging others? I got to think in your life you've been judged by others.
I think the term judge gets thrown around incorrectly a lot. A lot of people think I judge when I try to coach people and tell them that they need to step it up.
No, you're telling truth.
Telling the truth, exactly. Telling the truth. But as far as judging, I think it's necessary at times. I think it's unnecessary at times. What are you being judged on? Are we judging the girl doing the dildo challenge? I think she should be judged. That's insane. So it just depends on the context, I think.
That's an interesting point. You're right. Yeah, because you're right. Yeah, because we immediately judged her, right? We saw the video, then we immediately had judgment, without a doubt.
Yeah, but if you're doing something for self-improvement or something positive and you're being judged, I think it's unnecessary.
Yes, there you go. Well, listen, we're going to get back to judgment in a few moments. We're going to bring Amy Reinhart in the lab here in a couple moments. But guys, AI is everywhere, right? It is all over the place. Every single day we see new models being released. Elon's platform released Grok 3 on Friday. And you know, I'm talking about it. It is lit, Marty. It's lit, man. You're absolutely right. It's lit. But here's the thing, boys. Good time, Adam, everybody. AI isn't taking your job, but someone who adapts faster might. And I've been talking with my kids, and boys, tune into what I'm going to say here because I live this. I breathe it. I live it. I'm a nerd. I'm in the middle of it all the time. I constantly read. Encourage your kids to lean into this because AI is here. It's writing reports, generating ideas, automating customer service. We've all seen the headlines. Robots are coming for your job. And you know what? Nobody should make a mistake about what I just said there. A lot of people don't recognize the physical AI that's going to be in the world in the next 2 years, right? Apple's working on it. Meta's working on it. We are going to have physical robots around us in the next 2 years in our lives. Just like the iPhone took over, we're going to see robots in our worlds here very much. So here's the question. Should you be worried? Well, the reality is not exactly. Because AI isn't replacing people, but people who learn to work with it will replace those who don't. And that's the real shift happening right now. It's a tool, not a threat, right? And sometimes we need to keep that in mind. AI has no original thought. No, it uses thought that we've had from the past. AI lacks emotional intelligence. That's rapidly changing, but right now, and Johnny talks often about emotional intelligence, AI doesn't have any of it. So the human side of things is important to be that connective tissue. AI can't handle uncertainty. It runs on data and patterns, but what happens when there's no clear pattern? It might make something up. The best decisions aren't logical. Sometimes they require taking calculated risks. The other one, guys, is AI has no morals or ethics. Marty, just look at Grok, right? It just tells you everything that it wants to say. And I'm gonna invite you guys to think about this: how to stay ahead in an AI-driven world. Get AI literate. And I think, Marty and Johnny, it's as simple as this. I looked to John. Him and I grew up with Google. And at the time, it was like, oh my God, I got to learn this Google thing. Well, we went from encyclopedias and dictionaries to Google. We did pretty good with it. It's the same thing with AI, you guys. I would encourage you and invite you to lean in, use them, because if you don't, somebody else is, and they're going to pass you pretty damn fast. Master what it can't do. Keep adapting, because that complacency is going to kill. And here's the thing, guys. The future belongs to those who take action. AI is not going away. It's only making our world much more productive and much more valuable. And I will also invite you all to think about this. The politics of the world that you're seeing all above it all, many aren't talking about this, but because I'm a nerd and I pay attention to it all, the economics of society are about to be upended because of AI tools. So hence, all the things we're seeing on the front. But anyways, there's a little chat about AI this morning. Marty, are you using a little bit more?
They call me C Marty AI Fit, No, I'm joking. But yeah, I use AI all the time, especially for the biggest thing I use Grok for is my thumbnails for my podcast and my YouTube. So I use it daily.
How do you do that? You just tell it what you want, and it makes a thumbnail?
Exactly.
Like, what do you just say, give me a thumbnail for a video that talks about this?
Give me an image of an overweight person in the gym who looks nervous. Boom. Or make them black. Boom. Oh, matter of fact, make it a man. Boom. Yeah. So it's just you got to mess around with it.
So it's not a picture really of you. It's a picture of what it something that pulls off the net.
Yep. And then I'll just throw my picture on top of it for the thumbnail.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Benzie, I see your question. Robots on Amazon, other warehouse jobs. You're right, Benzie. But more importantly, Meta just announced on Friday they're investing billions of dollars into, I'll just use my terms, Robot OS, the operating system to manage robots. Here's the thing, you guys. All the tools are there, right? They're just putting them together, and we're not seeing it. You know, there's 3,600 robot factories in China. 3,600 robot factories in China. So the robot wave is real. It is coming. So I would invite you guys all to pay attention to it. Speaking of, but I'm going to quickly pivot to this conversation. I saw something this morning. Boys, the British Medical Journal followed almost 1,000 men for over 10 years. Get this. Men who orgasmed more than twice a week had a 50% lower risk of mortality than those who don't. So, boys, regular orgasms improve blood circulation, heart health, and stress reduction, all factors linked to a longer life, right? So I know we talk about these things often on the show, but this research was quite stunning to me that, you know, if you're not emptying the clip a couple times a week, you might not live as long. So, guys, the study, the British Medical Journal, 1,000 men, followed these guys for 10 years. And Marty, 50% than those who didn't. We're not talking 1 or 2%.
You got to get that venom out, man.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
You know, they say that this, you know how they say the juice ain't worth the squeeze?
That's it. Well, and when we do that, if you got juice, you got to squeeze it out. Yes.
No Diddy.
No Diddy.
Well, here, you know, a lot of these studies that we're talking about, it's really what it's doing is it's promoting human beings to get back to the way that human beings lived before we were surrounded by so much distraction.
Well, that's what I'm enjoying with bringing these topics of a discussion, Johnny, because you're right. They're just very human. Like this is just very human stuff. Like it's
know, fucking 50 years ago, you know, there was not so much. People were fucking getting a nut a couple times a week, whether they're by themselves or whatever. There just wasn't, you know what I mean? It's the overstimulation and the distraction of just being a human was not so thick.
Yes. Oh, I know. There's distractions everywhere. So again, I'm glad that I like putting these topics out there because it gives us things to think about. I know our audience is quite intrigued by this, and my thought process, if it's interesting to me, it's probably going to be interesting to our audience. So Jimmy, let's get the Marty Fit Tip going. We're gonna do a little bit earlier here today. We're gonna come back. I got a little monologue to drop around judgment, and we're gonna bring Amy Reinhart in. We're gonna talk about judgment, judging others, Amy's love for hashtags, and so forth. So let's do it, Marty. Let's get to the Fit Tip, brother, and then we come back. We're gonna get into judgment.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. All right, fitness tip for today. Hear me out. Don't take this practically, okay? Just hear me out, all right? You got to be a pro with your fitness like you're a pro with your career. What is he talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So think about your job or your business, right? You're going to show up on time. You're going to look presentable. You're going to brush your teeth. You're going to wear nice clothes. And the list goes on and on. I can keep going, right? You have to take that same approach if you want to be successful in fitness, right? You can't half-ass your fitness because you're going to get half-ass results. You can't half-ass your job or your career or your business because you're going to get half-ass results. So make sure you're on top of your diet. Make sure you're on top of your water. And make sure you're actually showing up to the gym and putting in the effort. Now, some days are going to be harder than others. Some days are going to be higher intensity. Some days are going to be lower intensity. And that's okay. But you have to approach and be serious about it. And you can't slack and you can't BS. You can't hit the snooze button, right? You can't half-ass your workouts. You can't be at Five Guys and Popeyes and expect to get results, especially if you don't treat your business and your career and your job like that. So keep the same approach, keep the same level of focus, the same level of intensity, and be serious about it. So be a pro in fitness just like you are in your career. That's the fitness tip for today.
There's the fit tip of the day. You got to be a pro. We talk about being a business athlete, guys. Marty talks about it right there in the last fit tip of the day here. But guys, we're going to keep the conversation rolling here. We're going to get into our key discussion of the day around judgment. And I wrote something up a couple of days ago that I wanted to share with you guys about me and about my life. And I've been learning here in the last couple of weeks. The more that I'm sharing, the more that people are leaning in. And you know, I got to be honest. Took a page from Johnny, right? Which is, you know, I'm here standing with my pants down, and I've been working hard, and you know, music and
leaders pull their pants down first.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, Jimmy, let's do this. Let's throw me up here. We'll get everybody off the stage. I'll do this monologue, and we'll bring everybody back here. Okay, Jimmy? So listen, guys, here's a little story about how I became a narcissist. Yeah, big word. And I'm throwing it out there for you guys. How I became a narcissist. I had everything. I had money, I had success, I had respect. And yet somewhere along the way, guys, I lost myself. I judged people. Yep. I lost all grace. Hurts me to say what I'm going to say next. Thought I was better. True story. Not outwardly. I wasn't rude. I was still polite. I was still well-mannered. But in my head, I will admit I looked down on people. I thought I was above them. Why? Because when the world starts treating you like you're special, you start believing it. And that's what happens when you get everything you ever wanted fast. A few extra zeros in the bank account. Suddenly, people treat you differently. True story. How do I know? I went through it. And without realizing it, you start treating them differently too. And guys, listen, I didn't wake up one day deciding to be an asshole. I said it. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody does. But success, at least in my experience, slippery slope. One day you're the underdog. The next day you're looking at people like they're beneath you. For what? Because I built something and I sold it? Because my bank account had more money in it? Really? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? More digits on a screen equals what? More value as a human? Guys, I'm sorry to say that I bought into that lie. And in my experience, a lot of people do. Because when the world puts you on a pedestal, it's easy to forget who you really are. But here's the truth. I wasn't better. I was just maybe financially richer. But wealth without self-awareness is a dangerous mother drug. Because the money didn't make me bad. I did that all on my own. But what it did is it took losing a lot, breaking a lot, and rebuilding to see it. Because guys, I can tell you, I see the wreckage behind me. I'm aware of it. Oh, baby, I'm aware of it. I don't take my journey for granted because status, it's a mirage. Respect, it can't be bought. So gentlemen, ears up. If you're that guy right now, I'm going to invite you to wake the fuck up before life humbles you the hard way. How do I know? I was you. I absolutely was you. So before you judge others, go look in your own mirror and judge yourself. There you go, Jimmy. There's our little bit of our judgment monologue this morning from Mornings on Lab with Keith and friends, myself, Marty. Amy, how are you, kid?
I am great. How are you? It's so nice to see everybody and be back on the show.
Yes, good to have you.
Instead of behind the scenes chatting and texting you and all that kind of stuff, I thought, why don't I just show up?
I love it. I love it. So listen, Amy Reinhart's back. You know her. You loved her last time. And today we're going to dive in again. Amy's from Boston. She's a storyteller, a connector, and she's an all-around badass. Amy Reinhart's here in the lab. Last time she rocked the world talking about body language and human connection. Today we're talking judgment. And Amy, I know when I was laughing with you, you're like, oh, I like to judge everybody. I know it was all kind of tongue in cheek. But before we get into judgment, talk about your love for hashtags. And I know I talked some humor around hashtags with that ridiculous woman doing that crazy stuff. You know what the funny thing was? Good time was like, the funny thing is nobody even noticed that woman doing crazy shit. But Amy, what's your love for hashtags all about?
You know, I'm glad that you threw that video up there, sort of, right? When I saw you put it up, I thought, oh shit, here we go, right?
Yeah.
And But seriously, so my hashtag, or one that I say it's mine, it's tongue in cheek. You can't really own a hashtag.
Yeah.
But if I could, it would be lift up, right? Hashtag lift
Yes.
up, because we spend a lot of time on social media, all of us do. And there's a lot of provocative stuff. There's, like the video that you showed. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of, people just posting things to get a reaction.
Yes.
And lift up is my reminder not to jump in, right? To just keep scrolling, let that stuff just happen around me, but to engage and promote and support and model more positive behavior online. So it's interesting that you posted that video, because it's so hard to judge. We don't know what's going on with that woman, right? But something is, right? And that's where, my more empathetic nature comes through. That if somebody needs to get attention in that way, there's clearly something else going on that we can't know and we shouldn't judge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because Marty's like, well, yeah, we immediately will judge somebody like that, right? So,
right. Yeah.
But Amy, you recently commented on one of my LinkedIn posts saying one of your favorite sayings is not that I'm judging other people, I just think that I'm better than they are. And I know it's humorous and tongue in cheek, but what's the story that goes with that, Amy?
Yeah, those are actually, words that my ears have heard me say, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean, and I realize how layered and how messed up that statement is on so many different levels.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm trying to communicate in that statement is that clearly we all judge, right? And sometimes that judgment, that feeling of superiority that we get when we judge other people, has more to do with what's going on inside of ourselves, right? That, I'm judging you, at least I'm not like that.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes that can feel like it can get a little confused with, my values are different, or I have a certain level of integrity, or I hold myself to a different standard, right? So we get that feeling of superiority by judging other people and thinking we're better. So I love it that you said that earlier about just feeling like you were superior, because that's what we get. That's that feeling of moral superiority that we get when we judge other people.
Well, I think it happens kind of naturally. Yeah. Like I'm going to look at Johnny here, for example, as he was going through his career. I'm going to assume, Johnny, when you were doing movies and doing some of the big stuff, you went from the back of the line to the front of the line. You went to different VIP entrances. You had all these different things happening to you that naturally you become different than others. Am I wrong?
I mean, I've felt that I've been different than others from the beginning. Some of it was beneath par, some of it was above par. I believe that I'm far above par. But the thing that the whole judgment topic, what I don't understand, is it's a fucking waste of time. Why are people wasting their time with this shit?
Yes.
It's like, I mean, if you boil it down and you really value your time, you will not do most of the dumb shit that we point out that people are doing on the show. Period. End of story. I mean, some of these conversations, I just sit here and go, okay, I agree, but why the fuck? This is something I don't subscribe to, because I have so many things I want to put my time towards, and this is not one of them.
Which is fair, because Johnny, because I would, you do come at things a little differently. There's no question about it. Most people, though, I think Amy and Marty would agree with me that there's a difference between judgment and having high standards for yourself and others. But I guess the question is that all of us, we judge. Where's that line? Right? At what point does holding people accountable turn into just being an asshole? Right? So, John, as you're going through, and I know you don't put a lot of energy into it, but those that don't have the discipline that you have are probably on a daily basis, Marty, Amy, crossing the line and actually being an asshole most of the time because they're just judging people left and right. You know what I'm trying to say?
I am the front seat to getting judged. I get judged every day, all day. I've been judged for I've been judged my whole life because I was a fat little son of a bitch, because I was a little dense, because I couldn't read well. Then I went to the other side of the fence. So, but again, it's just like, you can participate in an activity you don't believe in, or when you do catch a whiff of it here and there, when it's happening to you, you can use it as fuel. You can turn it into something positive.
Amy,
and so, I mean, granted, I understand all of what's going on in this conversation.
Yeah.
I just have some kind of hard lines of what I subscribe to and what I don't.
No, but I love your point of view, which is why I keep leaning in, and that's why I think we operate so well, because you've taught me to put up walls around certain things that are just not no use putting my time somewhere. Amy, do you think social media has made us more judgmental, or is it simply just louder about it because it's everywhere?
Well, I talk a lot about, as a marketer, we study the science that goes into a lot of these digital platforms.
Yes.
And, they amp up the algorithms, of course, amp up things that are provocative. I mean, and that's just the truth, unfortunately, because all of these platforms want people to stay there, right? So if it inspires a few more seconds to look at something, to read something, or go, oh my God, or comment or whatever. So it definitely, it's not only a mirror, but it's reflecting back, but it's also amping up, I think, in a lot of cases, on a lot of platforms, not all of them, but in many of them, the wrong kind of behaviors, right? Which encourages people. They say, well, in order to get clicks and hits and, whatever, I need to go out and do the things that, you showed in that video earlier. And that to me is just sad. It's just so sad. But I also want to say, Keith, you posted something yesterday about judgment, and we all do it. We know we do it. We know it when we're being judged, and we feel it. But in so many cases, you don't really know what's going on with people, right? You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know how they arrived where they are. And what's going on, because especially in an online world, on social media, we all want to project the best, right? Nobody wants to necessarily show the worst of what's going on in their life, because then, there's consequences for that, right? So that's also something. Everybody's been through something, right? So, but when I see people behave in ways that I don't quite understand, whether they're just coming from a different perspective, or it looks like maybe they're struggling with something, just keep moving, right? There's no reason to pile on.
Marty, when you're coaching clients, when you're interacting with folks, how do you balance calling people out with accountability, but also giving them grace?
Understanding, right? Understand that people aren't perfect. They hired me for a reason. So my job is to help them. So understanding the how they feel, right? Understanding being in their shoes, and then think about the goal. And we just come up with a plan for it. That's it. It's pretty simple.
The idea of judgment is, I think it's a fascinating topic. I know that, it's where you put your energy, negative or positive, but we go through society making a decision, judging a book by its cover. And I think really the topic for me today was really just this gentle reminder, and Amy talked about it, is that you don't know what somebody's going through behind the scenes. Right. So
well, can I interject? I'm sorry, Keith.
Yeah.
My only counter to that is, you're right. We don't know what people are going through. Right. So the girl that you showed on the challenge earlier, she probably going through a lot of stuff. But when you come out in public like that, there's kids with their parents, when you do stuff like that, you can't call me out for judging when you're doing something detrimental to society. That's my only counter to that. At that moment, I'm not thinking about what you're going through. I see something crazy, I'm going to think you're crazy. I'm going to call you an idiot because you're doing some idiotic activity. That's my only counter to that. And I don't think that someone's wrong for judging some behavior like that. I know that's an extreme case, but that's my perspective on it.
Amy?
So I just want to mention also, because I spend a fair amount of time in gyms and health clubs and fitness clubs as well. And there's also a lot of judgment that goes on in that kind of environment. And I think everybody in this conversation has probably seen that. And, people arrive, they walk through those doors, they work with personal trainers, they go to an exercise class for the first time, with a lot of emotion and fear and trepidation. And you hinted at that a little bit earlier about just sort of that fragile egg nature that occurs when people are stepping into that kind of environment and they feel really, really out of place, whether it's their body or their mind, right? And that, I think about Planet Fitness, one of the best fitness brands in the world, and I think their no judgment zone campaign was just so incredibly effective especially for the audience that they're trying to reach, which is non-gym goers. But for people who are really comfortable in that kind of environment, like a gym to me is like home. I love the clinking weights and the sound of the treadmill. Like I love that, right? But you got to remember that it's not home for a lot of people, and it's a really, really intimidating environment. And where it's one place where I think judgment can really, really thrive. So role modeling a different kind of behavior in that environment, I think, is really important.
I found that, Johnny, I got something for you here. I found a great article from Mark Manson. He's the guy behind a couple of books called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck and Everything is Fucked. And he's known for cutting through the BS and calling things like they are. Marty, like somebody we know here on the show, our brother Johnny. But in one of his articles, he talks about how we judge others. Here's what I found quite provocative. How we judge others is how we judge ourselves. And he makes a strong judgment. He makes a strong argument. Whatever standard we use to measure our own worth, we use to judge others. So, John, we always talk here about we're willing to do the shit that others don't do. Maybe there's some negativity in that. If you measure your life by money, you judge others because of their bank accounts. If you define yourself by fitness, you might judge people by how they look. If you pride yourself on intelligence, you might think that people are dumb because you're smarter than them. It's a powerful idea.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Judgment, if I'm going to define, this is judgment right here. It's like fucking drinking a bottle of rat poison, thinking that you're poisoning somebody else.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, it's like you are participating in toxicity, but in actuality, I mean, you're the one that loses here. Yes. The reason I don't like judgment is because it fucking wrecks my vibration. Not to get fucking Gandhi on everyone, but
no, I'm with you.
When you're vibrating high, you feel fucking great.
Yes.
When you're vibrating low, you don't. So just call it a gauge. Get rid of the word vibration for those people that don't believe in that word. It's judgment lowers my vibration, so I don't participate in it.
That's a choice. I like that. You're like, no, I'm not participating in it. What Mark says is that we all have a personal yardstick, right? Which is our prison, Amy. The way we measure success, and we use that same yardstick to judge others. The problem is most of us didn't choose the yardstick. It was handed to us by our parents, our schools, our workplaces, or society. It was shaped by our fears, what we don't want to be seen as. And worst of all, it locks us into the narrow way of seeing the world. Right, Amy. So let's say you define success by money.
Well, let me jump on that real quick. So on that level, based on what he's saying, that's like saying that I forgive myself, so I forgive everyone else, and I can live with that too.
So, but let's go here.
Is that correct? And what he's saying, we judge ourselves or we judge others. Well, I'm human. I fuck up all the time, but I realize that I'm going to learn from that mistake. I'm going to move forward with it. But I don't really fail. I learn or I win. And when you have that and you truly believe that, I suppose that makes perfect sense why it's so easy for me not to participate.
Well, let me ask this then. Let's throw on the table for the table. So if we think that self-discipline equals six-pack abs, does that mean a guy who prioritizes his mental health instead of his six-pack abs, do we consider that man weak?
Well, but I think discipline is what brings you. Discipline is self-love, number one. Taking care of yourself, and your discipline is unique to everyone. Your discipline can be based upon, it goes to whatever part of you want to attach it to. If getting abs is important to you, then great. But I mean, discipline doesn't have to be, well, I have abs and he doesn't. Discipline is just that thing that you use to, how's this? Discipline is happiness. Discipline is freedom. Let's stop using it on these little, microscopic categories that don't really matter. Use it on the parts of life that actually do. All the little categories are great, and that defines the human and where they want to apply their discipline. But discipline is freedom. Discipline is happiness.
Oh, I love it. Amy, you know why we do this? Science says it's hardwired. Your brain isn't trying to be an asshole. It's just running on default settings. You see that we all have confirmation bias. You see what you expect to see. Johnny says it all the time. Johnny, what do you talk about? If you're working towards something positive, it's going to be positive. If you're thinking negative, it's going to be negative, right? So
you will find reasons, and whatever you're thinking about, you're going to find, like going back to the gym. Like you're thinking about not going to the gym, you will find those reasons. If you're thinking about going to the gym, you will find the reasons.
Yes. Freud, Johnny, I know you're a guy of philosophy. Freud in 1911 talks about projection. Freud pointed out that we project our own insecurities onto others, Marty.
My God, yes.
If we struggle with self-discipline, we're quick to call others lazy. And then Kahneman in 2011 says cognitive heuristics. The brain loves shortcuts. Don't we know that, guys, right? Like we live in a society now where it's TikTok 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 10 seconds. It's quick, shortcut. The brain loves shortcuts. It labels people instantly based on familiar patterns. Amy, just calling you out. You might look at somebody and you're like, oh, that guy's lazy fat ass because he's fat. Even it might not be accurate or not, but you're preconditioned to think that. Right. The bottom line is your judgments aren't as objective as you think they are. And that's what I find fascinating about this. That they're largely mental shortcuts to make life easier. And Mark talks about how to reclaim your yardstick. And I think John lives this all the time. You got to recognize your default settings. Ask yourself this, Amy, what do I judge in other people?
Right, and I think your point is that it's such a self-centered perspective, right? Because we're saying this works for me. This is what I think is important, so it must be important for you, and that's it's just so incredibly self-centered to have that perspective and then impose it on other people, right? I love this discussion. I wish we had a psychologist at the table. I think that this would be fascinating because I'm kind of exploring the whole idea that Johnny talked about with self-judgment and discipline. Because for me, I can out-discipline anybody, and I feel that often, my little judge that kind of hangs around all the time is not judging the rest of the world. It's basically saying, oh, look, that person's having a human experience, or that person is struggling with something, or that person must come from a different perspective than I am. So a lot of tolerance, a lot of allowance for other people to show up as they are, right? But for me, right, the kitchen is clean, the bed is made, the fridge is cleaned out. I've done my workout. I've walked my dog. I've done, like check, right?
Yes.
And if I don't do those things, and essentially what it does is if you don't give yourself some freedom to breathe once in a while, is you just get wound up tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and you're no fun anymore. So that's kind of the thing that I'm exploring, and I don't have any answers, but I think that self-judgment and self-compassion, and I think that's a piece of this conversation. But I'm just so fascinated with how, particularly the way that we judge other people and how that's reflected back to us in social media is just, it's fascinating. And that as a marketer, I could talk about all day.
Yes. Well, Lauren comes in with, I think it's human nature to judge on our own shortcomings. It makes us feel better about ourselves, our own situation. So we just generally judge others, right? And then she's like, when you find inner peace and acceptance, judgments can fall to the wayside. Johnny, I know you have something to say, but John, I'm going to throw a tennis ball over to you because you've taught me this, what I'm going to say next. And I hang on this all the time. Judgment isn't bad. It's just data. Instead of judging somebody for what they've accomplished, maybe you want to judge the habits that they've put in place time and time again to achieve what they've accomplished, right? So it's measuring the discipline and the energy that they're putting into themselves instead of the fact that maybe they have a six-pack or don't have a six-pack. You judge them because they're going hard at it every single day and they're trying.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. We're using judgment from the negative side of the fence only.
Yes.
Like, okay, I say don't judge, don't look at the cars, don't look at the houses, look at the habits. Judge the man by how he lives on a day-to-day basis. And That's the judgment saying, give this guy credit because he does all the shit on a day-to-day basis that gets him all that shit that you're staring at.
Well,
But judgment doesn't have to be. Judgment can be like, like there are a handful of dudes, and not many. Yeah. But this is a good judgment that I can sit across the table from and go, God damn it, I honestly don't know if I work harder than you, and that's a positive judgment. I'm giving them credit for that. What I don't do is look around and go, I work harder than him. I work harder than him. I work harder than him.
Yes.
You know, I'll make the blanket statement. Very few men will sit across the table from me and have a I guess you'd say a harder work ethic or a better system in terms of discipline. But I'll be happy to judge on the positive side of the fence because that embraces what I do. It makes me strive for more. Here's the thing. Let's take this judgment as just a negative behavior pattern.
Yes. Well, because a
human being has, let's just call it 100 units of attention to give every day. That's all you got. Just quantify it. Why the hell are you going to take even one of your units and give it to somebody else in a negative fashion?
Oh, I love it.
I mean, you take that unit and give it to somebody, that focus, put it on judging someone who's doing something that's better than you so you can learn from it and do better. Don't take your energy, don't take your focus, don't take your units and fucking throw them away to shit that has no return.
You know what's great about this, Johnny, is you don't know that I'm taking it here, but where you started this wraps it up nicely because I love that you said, hey, listen, you got 100 units, right? So every time you, gentlemen, or anybody listening now, judges someone, ask yourself, using Johnny's analogy, are those 100 units you're making judgment about them, or is it about my own shortcomings, right? And if those 100 units you have is nothing positive in that, there's no point in putting your energy there. If laziness pisses you off, are you afraid of being seen as lazy? If arrogance annoys you, are you insecure about how you come across? And Lauren says it best here, right? Most judgments aren't about other people. They're about our own mirror. So I love Johnny's point. You got 100 units to use every single day. Use them appropriately. Don't waste your time negatively judging others. Don't let your yardstick keep you small because naturally that is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just like you think of the time that you spend talking smack about somebody else. That's time that you could have spent investing it in a relationship that you love.
Yes.
Possibly even the relationship with yourself.
Yes. No, this is good, man. This is really good because the real power, guys, as Mark says here, as the author Mark says, awareness isn't enough, Amy. Choosing a yardstick that makes you better, not smaller. Because success isn't about how others measure you. It's about how you measure yourself. And there's that reminder as we go through our day today, right? You got 100 units. Look in the mirror before you want to judge somebody else. And I love John's analogy and Marty's analogy often, which is put your energy into the right space, into the negative space. We have so much social media around us sucking us into the negative. That's why I thought this was a powerful conversation because it encourages people to get into the positive side of judgment.
Well, brother, you know my saying of I will do what other people will not do, it fucking covers the gamut. I'm not going to subscribe to fucking wasting my attention to this dumb shit.
Yes.
I'm doing what other people won't do.
Yes.
It applies itself to fucking almost everything in life.
And listen, since I've met you, I hang on that all the time. I absolutely do. And, Good Time says it best here too, right? We hear one bad thing out of 10, Amy, and all we do is think about the one bad thing. Right, the 9 other positive things we pay no attention to. Right, there's 10 things on the table.
Our brains were designed to do that,
and then it's all of a sudden,
survival. Survival. Yeah, exactly. And that's where not to come full circle on this, but just having a hashtag, a saying, whatever it is, to remind you because there's so much bait, and your brain is going to kind of focus on that negative. And it's not just on social media, but the whole lift up thing is, for many years it was high road for me, take the high road.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's kind of lift up because I think about not just my own personal standards of how I want to be, but that I want to encourage other people to do the same thing. Right. And I want to highlight people who are doing the same thing. And now I spend more time on social media. So lift up to me is that reminder to not judge, focus on the positive and stay focused there, right? Because there's so many distractions. So yeah, this has been a fun discussion.
And again,
not only from a marketing perspective and a personal behavior, and our own standards and integrity and how we think, but it got deeply psychological, and I like that.
Well, and that's why I've really enjoyed getting to know John, Amy.
Well, real quick on a very deep, on the deepest level we can think about, like in my core, we're running past our deadlines here. So I'm about ready to piss my pants. So you either got to cut me loose to the bathroom or give me my lifestyle tip and I'll go to the bathroom. But you're running on minutes here. I'm starting to see yellow.
You guys got to get that checked. This happens way too often. Have you all done that?
Well, I drink 3 liters before I get on the show.
But
Johnny, why don't you go for a break? Johnny, come back with the lifestyle tip. How does that sound?
Perfect. Yeah, I was going to say this is a wonderful conversation.
Tip. Go to the doctor and get it checked.
I'm in perfect health. If I don't want to pee, I just need to not drink so much early in the morning. That's part of my rhythm. That's part of my daily rhythm.
Johnny will go for a quick pee. We'll come back and we'll continue. We're going to wrap up the discussion here in a second here for the lifestyle tip. Jimmy, I completely lost track of time here this morning. I saw the clock, but I was really engaged in our discussion here. Marty, as we have gotten to know Johnny, if there's one thing I really enjoy about John is he's really taught me this idea of, and I hang on to it all the time, judge somebody for what they're trying to do or their habits that they're doing instead of what the results are. Because I didn't think that way in the past, I would say, right? I would judge on the end result and not really paying attention to what's going on underneath it. You follow me, Marty, Amy?
I'm with you, man. You know, but I do think the world needs constructive judgment, if that makes sense.
Tell me.
You look at Canada, you look at America, and look at where I'll speak on America more. I don't live in Canada, so I don't know what y'all deal with, but I know America specifically, where we've gotten towards, I think, just simple stuff, hard work, where we gotten towards appreciating small things, like just appreciating the fact that we don't have any wars going on right now. Like, wars where we're in danger, right? There's a lot of things we need to be thankful for, but I feel like things we aren't being judged on, like our habits, the things we pay attention to, in my community specifically, I'm clearly a black man. I think that has gotten this country out of order. So I think we do need some judgment because we got to put shit back in place. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying. I don't want to get too specific. Yes. I don't want to go too deep in here. But we need judgment. We need judgment.
Let me ask you this then. So this is fantastic. Let me ask you this: is John subscribing then, Marty?
Do we need judgment or do we need honesty?
Well, that's
okay. Maybe the word judgment isn't the right word. Maybe it's not the right word.
I'm all about honesty. Honesty is that we all got to be honest for 100%, especially with ourselves first.
Amy and Marty, is John living in a fantasy world of I only put energy into positive stuff. I don't got time for all the negative bullshit, which is fine. That's the world he chooses to live in.
Yes, I am. And I fucking had to work really hard to get here. Because most people don't live in a world where they're sucked into this shit and they don't have control over it. You know how fucking long it took me to create this fucking. I live in my own fucking universe.
Yes,
and it was difficult to fucking get here, and I have to work at it every day to stay here.
Yep. And John is focused on productivity. John's not going to put his energy to anything that's not serving him, right? So
yes.
John's mindset can be the complete opposite of probably 99% of the people. So I guess John isn't judging them, but he's kind of ignoring it, staying in his world. I'm quote unquote a judger. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to give my opinion, and then I'm going to go to John's world, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what
I'm going to judge it.
Saying, if I may, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about, and my dog wants to be part of the show today. This is Sadie. But essentially, I think what you're saying is like social pressure, positive social pressure, and to not conformity isn't the right word. I'm so sorry, Sadie. Come on. But that the group putting pressure on other members of the group that are behaving outside of what the group norms are, and in your case, they're positive, right? And you want to encourage that, right? So I think when you say judgment, it's really about like, hey, you're an outlier. You're doing some behaviors that aren't positive, aren't constructive, and we want to get you back. You know, we don't want the whole group to go in that direction. So it kind of forces sort of group enforcement of positive behavior. And I know that there are simpler words for this, but I think that's what I hear you saying. You're not saying go out and judge everybody. You're saying, hey, if there's bad behavior, we don't want that in our community.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm hearing Johnny say too. I'm sorry, what I'm hearing Marty say as well, though, Amy, is that his judgment comes from a place of accountability. So, for example, let's use that woman who was doing that crazy shit at the start of the show in the video. Like, I'm thinking Marty's brain's going, what the fuck you doing, man? Like get your shit together. Like, get your life
right?
And he's thinking to himself that this woman is a negative thing on society. So he's more about I'm suspecting, Marty, you're about all the accountability of it. You're going, like, if we can't hold her accountable, how can things become positive?
And I think the lack of it has gotten some of us to a point of no return.
Well, because you know what? If you look at that video, nobody paid attention to that woman. Good Time called it out. She was going around everywhere, and not one person stopped her, walked up to her, said, "What the hell are you doing?"
That's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, like
is that good or bad though?
Well, that's why. Is
that good or bad?
I know that's why I enjoy what your perspective is, Marty, because you're all. Maybe we do need to have that level of accountability. Maybe we do need to call that discussion out.
I think she needs to be called out.
In that case, it's a little like that could get dangerous because somebody engaging in that kind of behavior is I'm going to judge her not well. Like, right? In whatever way, we don't know what way, but either you're doing it for attention, being provocative. I mean, like, it's all wrong. Like that is out of line, right?
You know what?
But it could get a little dangerous. Yeah.
Johnny.
We always say, you know what Marty does when he sees that video like that? He just goes, I don't think judgment's first thing in his mind. First thing in his mind is this is going to be a fucking ripping video I'm going to make on this chick. Am I right, Marty?
Sure.
I think the idea of an opportunity of content is the first thing that hits his thought process.
That's it.
That's kind of like you, Johnny. I'm thinking like you. I learned that from you,
that's what I'm saying. If you look a little closer, I think there's something behind the judgment is something that you're using that as like I guess, forgive me, like a stepping stone, if you will, to progress in what your life's work is. And you've found a way to take these judgments, you wrap them with honesty, throw them in people's faces and turn it into something. So I think the judgment is the second thing that goes through his mind. I think the first thing is, I got to find this video and do a what do you call it? A response? What's the word? Reaction. There we go.
You know what I enjoyed most about this conversation, Amy, Marty, and John, is that we all didn't drink the same Kool-Aid. That's what I enjoyed about it. We threw it out there. John's coming at it from a different perspective. Marty's coming at it from a very different perspective. He's like, no, I fucking judge and I don't mind it. Amy's like, well, and I'm just the conduit kind of throwing things out. That's what I loved about this conversation. It wasn't just a kumbaya where we all agreed on it. There was some provocative stuff here, which was because John's all about, I don't got fucking time for judging.
Yeah. And the thing about it on that level, I love it, brother, because listen, I'm explaining my position.
I know.
I have zero problem with your guys' position or anyone else's position. If for whatever reason, if it makes you feel better to talk smack about me, I'll be your punching bag.
Oh, I like that too.
I like that too. Yeah.
I won't listen. If this is what you need, I'm here. Well,
and I got to be honest. I've been hanging out with you. I lean more into that as well. So I guess what I've gotten out of our relationship, Johnny, is you've given me more confidence to continue being myself. Like, judge me all you want. I've been really concerned with people judging me, but as I continue getting to know you and hanging out, I'm like, yeah, judge the book. And then come and open the book's cover and hear us talk. Like, oh, Anderson's a philosopher who plays chess. Yeah. Right. So it's judge the book by its cover. Let's get after it. Right. So anyways, great. So we got Rick Chloe coming here. When we say we don't judge others, we aren't aware of human psychology. Our croc brains judge to protect us. It's true. All right. Well, listen, we are way over time. We're going to get John Anderson's lifestyle tip. Amy, thanks for hanging out with us here today.
Great
I'm
conversation,
so happy.
Amy.
Yeah,
Good show,
this
Amy.
is really fun, and
Great.
it's nice to see everybody again.
Great conversation. I know, Marty, you got to rock and roll out of here, eh, pal?
I got to rock and roll, man.
Yeah, AJ was wondering if you were shoveling. Marty, Johnny, I got a text from AJ yesterday going, "Where's Marty?" I go, "I don't know. Is he shoveling snow?"
Tell AJ I got some jokes for him.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Amy, how can folks find you, connect with you over on the platforms, girl?
LinkedIn is the only place I'm at.
How's your Substack experience going?
I'm having a hard time figuring out the community aspect of it.
There you go.
And I think what if I understand it correctly, Substack started as a newsletter platform and now
Yes.
it's trying to morph into a lot of other things, which I want to be there for.
Yes.
I just haven't quite figured it out. And I do love my LinkedIn community. Anybody who's listening or watching the show today, please connect with me there. I write a lot of stories. I have a lot of opinions. Hopefully
Yes.
not a lot of judgments, but I love the community that I built there on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Amy Reinhart, I appreciate you. I thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show today. You enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to connecting with the LinkedIn community. Guys, you can go find Amy on LinkedIn. We're going to have her back. I like what she brings to the show here. Marty, you enjoy your day today, brother. I'm going to get off stage. Amy's going to get off stage. Marty's going to get off stage. Johnny's going to do the lifestyle tip, and then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up with the community corner and wrap the show up so Uncle Keith can go get some sleep today and get better for tomorrow. All right, so let's do this.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Feel better, man. See y'all, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you later.
See you, Amy.
Absolutely.
Have a good loop, brother.
All right, Johnny's doing a lifestyle tip. Jimmy, let's get after it, brother.
You will not succeed if you subscribe to this concept: the perfect time and the perfect place. That is basically camouflaged procrastination. What you got to do is take the first step. What you got to do is get uncomfortable. What you got to do is do the shit that most people won't do, which is taking action. Taking action is going to help you figure out what you need to understand so you can be successful. What you're not going to figure out is the formula for success when you're sitting still. You're not going to figure out the formula for success when you're waiting for the right time or waiting for the right place. The bottom line is simple. Movement is key. Action is key. The perfect time is right now, and the perfect place is right here. So as Don Shula, one of the most I think he might even still be the most ever winning coach in the NFL, one of his famous quotes is, the hardest step is always the first one. So take that first step, because the second step is easier than the first, and the third is easier than the second. Get in motion, stop waiting, and go get what you want. Rock and roll.
All right, there's John Anderson, just surprising me daily, dropping a Don Shula quote this morning on the show.
I almost said it backwards.
Just when you wonder what the young man's going to say next, he pulls out Shula out of the pocket. Rick Clody.
I think he still might be the most winning coach ever. I don't know if someone surpassed him, but I mean, he's had that title for a long time.
I think you're right. Hey, Jimmy, while we're having a little chitter chatter here, maybe you check that fact for us. Whether what do we see here in the comments here? Look, yeah, we got Rick Clody coming in here. 1972 Dolphins, only NFL team to ever go undefeated 14-0. Johnny. Yeah. That's funny, man. That's you never fail to surprise me. I enjoyed that conversation there with Amy and Marty, right? And it was good because here's the thing, Johnny. I know where you come from at this. So as I was putting together the conversation, I knew you were going to go at it because I feel like I know you quite well. And because I've learned from you where to put positive and negative energy. I had a conversation with a young man over the weekend who was just breathing negativity. And it's like, buddy, he's like, yeah. I go, all these words you're typing in are adding no value to the future. Stop.
Yeah. They don't even realize it most of the time.
No, that was exactly it, Johnny. That was exactly it. And I had to essentially say to him, look at this back thread here. Tell me what's moving the conversation forward. He's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Because he kept putting that energy in such a negative direction, right?
Well, because in so many cases, like in that conversation,
yeah,
I muted myself. Sorry about that. It's a lot of times the conversation surrounds, kind of because the majority of what was being talked about is how people deal.
Yes.
The majority, the masses deal with judgment.
Yes.
But in actuality, it's not even the conversation needs to be put to the foundation or the platform where the word sprouts, because we're only talking about half of the word. The whole 99% of that conversation was about negative judgments.
Yes.
When you it's crazy. Like you say judgment, people think bad.
Well, that's why I've enjoyed coming at judgment with, again, I keep blowing smoke up your ass today, brother. Sorry, but I've really leaned into judging somebody's habits instead of judging somebody's result, because I know that everybody has their things, everybody has their issues, everybody has their challenges. But Johnny, as long as they're trying, how is that not positive?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, as long as you're trying, how is that not positive? So if you're not, so for example, you with your clients, right? I know that you got a man coming to you saying, "Oh man, my life's out of sorts here. My gut is big," and everything, and you're helping this guy out. I know you're offering nothing but grace, but your judgment leans into the fact this man is trying every single day to be his best self. Where's wrong in that?
Yeah. It's just social media has really flipped this whole thing on its head, because now, I don't know, we don't need to go back into it, but it's made this whole idea of talking shit about somebody else. You don't even need somebody else in the room to do it anymore.
Well, precisely. Right. And everybody
it's like, holy Christ. And here's the thing, crazy thing.
Yeah.
So Terry would say, if you look at him close enough, everything he does leads back to the goal, right?
Yes.
Now, when I was younger, the goal was competing in strongman. Then it was, so there was always an attachment. It's business. But now when it comes down to it, I've realized that as I go older, I realized that it's not my effort into those direct things that's made me successful. It's the effort into my behavior that makes me successful.
Yes.
And so now when I look now, my world is now, it's like the goal is for me to live a certain way, is to control my thought process, control where my focus goes, control where my effort goes. And that's where, once I switched to that, once I recognized that was the root of my success, that this shit becomes so fucking clear. And it's so easy to recognize, whoa, this is not a good investment of my time. It does not serve my happiness.
But truthfully, you're unlike many. Many have not figured what you have figured out that way, right? And that I think is the difference for many folks, right? Is that they can't wrap their head around, the vigor you have in your schedule, the vigor you have with your productivity, the vigor you have towards your goals. But for you, that's what works for you, and I think there's nothing but respect about that. Right. And you don't got time for, and that's why I'm enjoying the show. That's why I think we're having success in the show, is that we're giving people things to think about. They go anywhere else on social media, it's nothing but negative judgment, negative opinions, and negative crap. And we're inviting somebody to think about it differently on the show.
And a lot of times, like when you say your vigorous schedule, you're this, that, and the other, people look and they see, I just this rigidness, I don't know if I could do this, that, or the other. But you got to understand that what the things that I do bring me happiness.
Yes.
It's all in pursuit of me being happy.
Yes.
Me feeling good, me looking forward to tomorrow, me looking forward to what I have to do today, because that's the place I want to live. I want to live in a place where I look forward to the stuff that I have going on all around me. And if I don't live in a very intentional, focused way, I lose that.
You just said the key word, intentional. If there's anything that I've learned from our relationship, is how you hang on that word. You intentionally live your life every single day, every hour, every minute, all with the sole purpose of being happy.
Well, I just, 100%. And I just was telling Terry this the other day. I was like, I'm realizing now that when I map out, my day, it's not because I have this, I have to be here, I have to be there. It's not this rigid, oh my God. It's because I can visualize and I get to feel the emotion and the happiness I'm going to have when I'm in that moment. So I'm creating this pathway of me wanting to go do these things. Like I literally like when I have some this morning, I have some check-ins with clients.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not just check-ins with clients. When I was writing it in my book, I was like, God, I'm going to have some check-in with clients. I'm going to hear some amazing news.
Yes.
So I planted that in my head. I'm looking forward to do that piece of, call it busy work, if you will. So for me, it's just a formula of making sure that everything in my life, I get some sort of joy out of.
There's good teaching in what you're talking about there. Great teaching in that, right? I would say in many ways, my wife, Lauren, is that way, Johnny. And I think the Lauren's listening, her ears perking up. I know Lauren likes to see things in the calendar. I know Lauren likes to see what things are coming. And I believe why, because it gives her something to look forward to. It gives her something to look forward towards happiness, right? And she knows that
100%.
And it's a wonderful point of view. Instead of life just somewhat happening along the way, you're like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Today I got some meetings with 4 clients today. That's going to be an incredible hour of my life where you're going to have a lot of joy. That's what you're saying. Most folks don't think that way, Johnny.
Well, and the thing about when you think of calendar, a lot of times you're thinking of some event coming that's days away or weeks away. Now take that concept and do that inside every day. Now that's the world I'm trying to live in.
Yes.
I'm trying to map out the fact that I'm going to enjoy having dinner with Terry at 6:00.
Yes.
I've already kind of in my mind, I've already seen it. I've already felt it. I can't wait to get there. We've talked before about visualization, but that's a big skill of yours, visualizing, isn't it? Because you're looking towards that dinner with Terry. You're visualizing it. You're thinking about it. You're feeling it, aren't you? So, yeah. So remember the movie Groundhog Day, right?
100%. Yeah.
So it starts off where he's in this fucking loop of every day.
Yes.
And he starts off and he's like getting suicidal because everything's just so fucking like, oh my God, everything's the same. And that's where most people there, Flynn, Christina, she was like, oh my God, it's boring. Every day is the same. Well, it's because you're living on the wrong side of the Groundhog Day.
I agree.
When you can make that day like an amazing day and you can make that day a little bit better. Like if you think about it, every day his day got a little bit better and he looked forward to all of the shit that he was doing.
Yes.
So that's the way people got to look at it. You're constructing a very similar day, but you're constructing it in a way that is going to make you happier and happier. Or are you going to look at this as something that are you going to the wrong side? Are you doing the suicidal version of Groundhog Day? Or are you doing the change humanity side of Groundhog Day?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Lauren comes in with living with intention and choosing your attitude, right? And that's really, summarizing it with that one statement, living intentionally, choosing your attitude and looking forward to what's coming instead of, because we have a choice. You can look forward to it or you can look negative to it. And in my experience, looking forward is a much better way of looking at it. Speaking of looking forward, my brother, what do you got going on today? Did you get any dirt biking in yesterday or are you getting out there today or what's the plan, man?
I did get out there just a little bit,
yeah,
but it's funny. As the day went on, I started to I actually went out and had a good quick ride, but I was pretty banged up when I got out there. I was hitting a couple of jumps and I was like, fuck, that fucking hurt. Because and I actually tweaked a little bit of a tweak in one of my quads. I landed, I was like, whoa, like that, what was that? And so I guess I kind of realized that I have to categorize a good hard dirt, because in my mind I just had this. I was just going to go out there and crush it, right? Because I've been waiting.
Yes.
And I didn't really realize it because my shoulder's been bugging me a little bit. I've been doing a lot of extra legs, and my legs were fucking beat up. And so I got to start to realize that, okay, am I going out there just to have a little fun, or am I going out there to dig, almost like a workout? I realized that was my lesson yesterday. Is this kind of active recovery ride, or is my body ready to go kill it? Because yesterday, I definitely could have banged myself up had I not had that. I'm actually glad that it happened. It was a blessing that I felt that little tweak in my leg, because it was in the very beginning of the ride. And I usually, as the ride goes, I get more and more ballsy, which means I started. So it was actually a very good learning experience yesterday.
How do you hold yourself back when you're feeling ballsy? Do you pause and look at your age and go, okay, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because I'm not 30 anymore?
Sometimes I think the universe does it for me.
Oh,
because
yeah.
in my mind,
Yes.
I had like this really incredible, couple of really good laps. Like I was gonna like, because there's a few places on the track where you can get to the other side of a jump, or you can go like way to the other side and catch a different part of the down ramp, right? So in my mind, I had myself clearing some really big shit, and so I think what happens is the universe said, you know what? I need to give him a signal early on in this. And if he's too dumb to listen to the signal, he'll deal with the consequence. But, I think I just listen, and so that little tweak in my leg, which not a big deal. I felt it yesterday, no limp, no nothing. It was just something that said, hey, maybe you better think this through here. So
But honest to God, you've been riding for a long time. Do you find yourself sometimes going, okay, I'm not 29-year-old John. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this jump today, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this today. Or you're like, fuck it, I'm trying.
Well, it's getting on the bike and just going to ride. I can pretty much ride as hard as I want. It's the jumps where I have to be, because you wreck on those, it's hammer time.
You're hurting yourself.
Yeah. I mean, like perfect example of the let's just say that over the years I've ridden, let's just quantify, let's say there's 100 crashes, been plenty more than that. But I would say at least 90% of those have been on jumping type, terrain.
Yeah.
So if I just go out and I could ride and not jump, and I could just do it every day, but the jumping part is what beats you up.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a good time coming in with riding as a workout. What is a workout? Because you're holding like,
no, dude. I mean, once literally on that level, I mean, once I kind of get in there and get going, 2 laps, and I got to stop and breathe, because I mean, I could deal with it in my lungs, but my fucking forearms get so tired. I can't control the bike very well. I start to get loose, going off. I'm like, I'm not controlling this thing. If I don't stop, let my forearms catch up, I'm going to be in deep shit.
Oh man. Well, yeah. And your whole body is tense. Like you got that whole, you're controlling the entire bike with your full body. So everything's being used in your body, including your brain.
Yeah. And then also too, we're in the deserts. There's a lot of sand, and sand is difficult to ride in. There's a few sections of the track where if you're not freaking deep in the throttle, you're not going very straight.
Are you serious question here? Are you spending a bunch of time in the shop? Like, are you a dirty mofo after you're done riding? Like, are you just sandy and dirty and dusty? And are you pulling sand out of the crevasses of your body, or what's
if
that?
I crash?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't crash today. There's no sand in my crevasse.
I mean, like if I go like where I don't hit the ground, it's not a problem. But sometimes I'll go down in a corner, you know what I mean, where I'm just going too hard in a corner, and I'll just won't make it out. And then I'm, of course you're off the bike, you're rolling in the sand, and you got the shit in your helmet. You got it everywhere. You got to take off your gear and go to the shower because it's in your butt crack.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, listen, my brother, I know you got to rock and roll. Jimmy and I are going to close the show with our community corner, creator spotlight. I'm glad what a good show today. Great conversation with Amy. I like your walk to the table today. We got a lot of testosterone here, testosterone on the show. So it was good. Amy coming in with a different POV and some different perspectives. And I thought it was great. Yeah.
She's definitely, every time she comes, it's a good show.
Yeah, once you provocative thoughts, right? Like, so it gives you things to think about. Actually, not speaking for the sake of speaking. Some good stuff she drops out there for us.
There's people that you find that when you're around them, they're good conversations, and she's one of those people. Yeah, I would agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. All right, my brother, you enjoy your day today, pal. Thanks for having the great chat here today. We look forward to reconnecting in less than 24 hours and another loop here tomorrow. I'm going to go get some rest. Let's keep our meeting scheduled. I'm going to go have a little rest here. If I find out that when I wake up from my meeting that I'm not feeling very good, I'll knock on your door. But let's plan on connecting here later today, okay? We can easily reschedule if we need to, brother. 100%. Not a problem.
All right, pal. All right, brother. You enjoy yourself. Say hi to Terry for me, and we'll catch up in less than 24, okay?
Have a good loop, my brother.
All right, pal. All right, Johnny's going to get out of here, Jimmy. We're going to reset here. Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends. What a great conversation, you guys. I'm appreciating all of the feedback in the comments. Rick Clody, Lauren, Good Time, Holroyd. You guys are awesome, man. You guys, for a dude who's feeling a little bit under the weather, you guys are awesome. You guys are just I get chills, frankly. I get chills. It's a really cool experience to be able to bring this to life for everybody. So, all right. So you guys know this part of the show. It's the community corner, the creator spotlight. Can I tell you guys the business reason you guys do this? Here's how we do this part. So here's what I've learned. When we're doing this segment, it brings people into the show, right? So we are quite aggressive with doing these community spotlights recently because when we're doing them, it's bringing people in. It's bringing people into the conversation. We're tagging people on the platforms. It's like, oh my God, what's going on over there in the morning show? So there's very much a strategic reason why we do these community corner creator spotlights. But hey, listen, we got somebody who you start a business for freedom. Thanks, Clody. I see your comments there, brother. And thanks, good time. Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'll be great tomorrow. Get a little bit of rest today. Get some fluids in me, and we're gonna be fine to rock and roll here tomorrow. But Jimmy, you start a business for freedom. Freedom from a boss, freedom to set your own schedule, freedom to build something meaningful. Yeah, but somewhere along the way, things shift. The business grows and suddenly you're not free at all. Actually, I've been there. I know what that's like. Like, wait a minute. How come I got all these decisions now? You're drowning in decisions, emails, and tasks that only you can handle. Vacations, unplugging, forget it. Right? Because if you step away, things start falling apart. But here's the truth, gentlemen. Most entrepreneurs don't want to admit you don't own your business. Your business owns you. That's why we're excited about today's LinkedIn Creator Spotlight. Yeah. Because while most people accept this cycle as just part of the grind, today's creator is breaking it and helping others do the same. Now, this is someone who doesn't just talk about success. This guy engineers it. He doesn't believe in working harder just for the sake of it. He believes in leveraging systems, automation, and strategy to scale without burnout. He's a brain coach for high performers, a serial entrepreneur who owns over, not 10, not 15, over 21 businesses, and a relentless problem solver who helps people create freedom without sacrificing their growth. Jimmy, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is very excited to celebrate today our friend. It is going to be Jimmy Preston Weeks. Oops, there's a, hold on. No, there it is there, Preston Weeks. Listen, guys, Preston isn't just about building businesses. No, he's about building businesses don't consume your life. Hey, Preston, you want to meet? He helps founders automate the chaos so they can scale without being stuck in the weeds. He's mastered the art of delegation. Boys, how many of you struggle with delegation? Learn it. Once you learn it, tell you, man, you're off to the races. Preston has mastered the art of it. Delegation, efficiency, and leverage, turning overworked entrepreneurs into actual CEOs. And he does it all with a simple but powerful belief. Here's what it is, boys. Success should give you more life, not take it away. So listen, if you're an entrepreneur looking to work smarter, not harder, or just want to see how a true systems thinker operates, Jimmy Preston is someone you need to follow. Go find him. He's over on LinkedIn. Connect with Preston. Go check out his content, man. He's got some great content. He's got a great hairdo there. Good do there, Preston. But here's how it works, man. We want to have you on the show because we know there's somebody in your orbit, Preston, that needs to be celebrated just like we're celebrating you. So here's how it works. We love to have you on the show so you can nominate somebody for the future Community Corner Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. There you go, Preston. We're getting after you, brother. All right, so now we're going to move to the second creator we're going to celebrate today. And again, I'll have to give you guys the business reasons. Because we're looking to grow our business on Substack, guys, inside.bapl.ai. Jimmy, if you want to throw that into the comments, or Tommy, let's throw it into the comments here, inside.bapl.ai. I invite you guys to subscribe to our Substack. Behind the scenes, we're going to be putting a lot more energy into that platform. So, from the business side of things, this is a morning show for men. What we've done with the Substack is those that want to be creators, those that are looking to start a conversation, those that are looking to start a business by creating content, we're sharing all the tips and tricks behind the scenes. For example, why do we stream on vertical and horizontal? How does it work? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? I've learned a lot of shit here in the last year and a half building the show. We're putting it behind the Substack to teach people that. And what's also happening is with the exchange product we have where folks can come and buy their own segment of the Show, aka Mike Smart. That's also part of our Substack experience. So I invite you guys to check that out. Inside.bapl.ai. All right, Listen, this guy, you sit down to create. The blank page stares back at you. Instead of feeling excited, you feel pressure. You need to publish. You need to grow. You need to be consistent. You scroll through social media and it feels like everyone else is doing more. Been there. Posting daily, gaining followers, building an audience at breakneck speed. You wonder, am I doing enough? That's the trap of hustle culture, the constant grind that turns creativity into obligation and replaces joy with anxiety. But what if there was another way? What if there was another way? A way to create without burnout, a way to grow without forcing it, a way to write, build, and connection your terms. That's why today's Substack creator deserves the spotlight. Because while the internet pushes you to work harder, work faster, be more ridiculous, this guy's teaching people how to create smarter. Jimmy, Tommy, on behalf of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, we are excited to celebrate on the Substack platform today, Mr. Benjamin Antoine. Benjamin, there you go, my friend. He's not here to give you another productivity hack. Nope. He's here to dismantle the myths that keep creators stuck, believing they need to grind their way to business. This guy's got an anti-productivity, pro-creativity approach. He's showing writers and creators how to build an audience without burning out, create content that resonates, not just content for the algorithm, find a writing rhythm that feels natural instead of forced. What's his philosophy? Sustainable creativity beats forced productivity every time. So, if you ever felt like you're just chasing someone else's pace, maybe judging, struggling to keep up, or losing your creative spark to the hustle, Benjamin's work is a breath of fresh air. I invite it. Check out Benjamin's work over on Substack. Follow him, read his words, and finally, start creating in a way that actually works for you. So, Benjamin, here's how it works. We're celebrating you on the show. We'd love to have you on the show because we know there's somebody in your orbit that you're like, yeah, I want to celebrate this person. So the invite is here. Come on to our show, hang out with myself, Jimmy, and in the community corner, and we're going to celebrate somebody in your orbit so we can take the big old Mornings in the Lab spotlight and make somebody else happy. All right, guys. Yeah, we did it. Jimmy, we got through it, man. 90 minutes. Oh, fuck, 97 minutes. It's funny, I came into the show today, I said to Jimmy, we're going to do a 60 to 75er. But the reality was, great conversation with Amy around judgment. We missed the lifestyle tip. We went overtime. Marty dropping nuggets around, yeah, I judge and I don't mind judging. Love it, right? He's like, maybe we do need more judgment in society. Love it. That's the kind of conversation we're trying to have here in the lab. All right, Jimmy, should we get out of here, pal? I think so, eh? Benzie, I appreciate you, man. Glad to be back, and what a great show. I agree, Scott. I appreciate you coming into the show today. Good time. I appreciate you as well. I'm going to get some fluids in me and going to get some rest here. Clody, I'm saying your name right, ain't I, now these days? Hey, Rick from Tennessee, I appreciate you, man. You always join the show. Very, very kind of you to spend some time with us. Let's see, who else do we have here on the show here? Amy Reinhart, I appreciate you. I think if you're still tuning in right now, I just got your text. Thanks for hanging out with us. I think we need to agree on working towards a regular segment with you from a women's point of view. Yeah, true story. Guys, if you don't like Amy, tell me so we don't invite her back. Joking, Amy. Joking. Everybody loves Amy. So, maybe we'll invite your dog back as well, Amy. All right, well, listen, Uncle Keith's going to get out of here. We're going to go have some fluids and they're going to get some rest. And we'll be back here tomorrow in less than 24 hours. Jimmy, what do we got tomorrow, man? I'm just going to quickly pull this up here. I hear you, Clody. I think that's the plan here. We're going to do more work with Amy. She's great. Jimmy, what do we got tomorrow, man? I'm going to do a quick little look here. Tomorrow on the show, guys, we have let's see here. Tomorrow, discovering life's purpose. We're going to get into that conversation tomorrow, man. Discovering your life's purpose right now. If you guys are going through life wondering if you're going in circles or wondering if there's a purpose behind it, tomorrow we're going to get into that conversation about life's purpose, and you never know what else will come up along the way. So, on behalf of myself, I'm that Keith guy. On behalf of John Anderson, the guy with the vision. On behalf of Marty, on behalf of Amy Reinhart, Tommy in the community. On behalf of producer Jimmy, the man behind the buttons who makes us look good, sound good, and brings this whole show to life. Melissa, behind the scenes there, helping me just get shit done. I appreciate you, Melissa. I appreciate all you guys. We'll see you guys in the morning. Today's a lot more chill. Yeah. Was it a lot more chill there, Tommy, or what? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. I'm getting out of here. See you guys.